Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com. Hello everybody and welcome to Past the Wire TV and a little recap of the last week in the Sport of Kings. Before we get to that, check out our friends at Wager, an ADW that has so many tools for the better. You just gotta check it out. So take a look. See what I mean? You really got to check them out. They've got a lot of interesting tools for the better that you just don't see on a lot of other ADWs, and they're constantly improving and adding technology. And for one of the independent ADWs that are out there that are not really fronting for a major racetrack, they do a great job, and it's definitely worth checking out. Opening week at Saratoga in the books. Opening week at Del Mar in the books. 2021, rocking and rolling. A year past a crazy year last year because of the pandemic with no fans. Fans are back at both racetracks. Opening weeks went off pretty much as expected. A lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation. Not a lot of crazy results, good feels, honest racing, a little rain at Saratoga like we expect up there. The weather at Saratoga always plays a factor. People always compare the racing at Saratoga and Del Mar and which venue is better. They're both fantastic. One's on the West Coast right on the beach. The other one's in a fantastic region of the Adirondack Mountains. But weather-wise, Del Mar takes the cake. Racing-wise, neck and neck, I favor Saratoga a little bit, especially the stakes and the history and the tradition. And I'm just so used to that town. But both places are phenomenal. The Breeders' Cup this year is at Del Mar. If you have not been to either venue and you can get there and you love horse racing, definitely both places to go. But interestingly enough, the news this week in racing was really dominated in New Jersey, at Oceanport, New Jersey, at Monmouth Park, another nice venue, and the Haskell Stakes. And after that, there was a little bit more drama. But the Haskell was unofficially won, as most of you know, by Hot Rod Charlie, outgamed Mandaloun to the wire, but unfortunately came in, clipped heels with Midnight Bourbon, who unseated Paco Lopez, who went down pretty hard, was disqualified. Mandaloun becomes the winner. I think he's the first grade one put up in, I don't even know. He will, if he gets put up in the Kentucky Derby, which is likely to happen after a long drawn out process, but does look likely to happen. I think he may be the first horse ever to get put up in two grade ones as a 3-year-old in the same year. I don't look up stats like that. I just go by in my head. So don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that would be a relatively safe bet that he would be the first 3-year-old to ever be put up in two grade ones in the same year. Even though the Derby put up probably won't happen this year. It'll probably happen next year or the year after that by the time that whole saga plays out. But we'll see. And who knows what could happen. But in the Haskell, the aftermath of it was what got a little bit interesting. And everybody's weighed in with an opinion, from Terry Meeks at the Jockey Guild to John Velasquez and a lot of other riders and all the couch jockeys on social media. Everybody's got an opinion. Even Flavian Pratt weighed in and said that if he could have hit the horse with his left hand and corrected the horse from lugging in a little bit or getting in a little bit, he would have done so, but the whip rule in New Jersey prevented him, I guess, from doing that, is what he's saying. John Velasquez agrees, and it's tough to go against a rider when you're not a rider, okay? And let me just make one thing clear. I'm 100% on board with the riders as far as the whip or crop rule, whatever you want to call it, in New Jersey being ridiculous. I don't think they should have implemented it there, and I don't think they needed to implement a whip rule in California either. My feeling on this was, has, and will be that we've always had whip rules in place that govern riders from excessively or abusingly using the crop. Okay, stewards need to do their job. If you see a rider using the crop in an improper manner, call them on the carpet, fine them, suspend them. They have the authority to do that at every racing jurisdiction I'm aware of. They just hardly ever do it. And now we're implementing these rules for show, I guess, to appease animal rights activists or whoever else. I did a video on this a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago now. Time flies when you're having fun. Saying that stewards, do your job. You know, we don't need these whip and crop rules. Most riders know when, if, and how to use the crop and use it the right way. Now we have these very soft Nerf-like crops that make a pop that supposedly, you know, don't hurt horses. If you've got any doubt, take a look at one, feel it for yourself, play with it, check it out, and form an opinion based on that. But these rules, while I am, you know, on board with the jocks, I don't think that they really applied in the Haskell, and I'll tell you why. I think Flavien Prat was race riding, and when you race ride, you always ride a fine line as just crossing over that line to warrant a DQ, to not warrant the DQ, and in certain cases to cause an incident, and in this case it did. And here's what I base that on. When I watched the head-on, Flavien was really hand riding hard to the wire. He's going to win the Haskell, $1 million race on Hot Rod Charlie, who's had some tough losses. You know, I mean, goes without saying how bad they want that win, okay? When you put those two horses together, Mandaloon and Hot Rod Charlie, they get game. One may get a little intimidated. So that's race riding. He was looking to lay all over that other horse, keep money inside, and outgame him to the wire. And he successfully did that. The problem was Midnight Bourbon and Paco Lopez were between them, and he came in when he wasn't clear, clipped his heels. But what makes me think the crop had nothing to do with it, and it was really a heat-of-the-moment thing, was if you watch Pratt, and I don't know this for a fact, but I would bet that he's a righty, because either that or he's just a really good race rider, because his right hand, when he was really hand riding and urging, was definitely the stronger and more dominant hand. And the horse was responding to that, and I think he was doing that to get the horse to go in a little bit towards Mandaloon and just outride him to the wire. And that's what happened. Unfortunately, Midnight Bourbon got caught up in it. He's okay. Paco's okay. So fortunately, it wasn't as bad an incident as it could have been. It could have been really bad. I think it was the right call with the DQ. I don't think that the crop would have made a difference. I think he was race riding. I don't know that he would have gone to the left hand at that particular point, because I think he was looking to get near Mandaloon, and I think it was just an error. Now that's me. I'm not a race rider, but I do recognize and know race riding and have been watching it for many years. But I'm sitting on the couch looking at it. I'm not out there in the heat of the moment, and they do deserve some benefit of the doubt. It's tough to say, you know, Johnny V, you're not right in this situation, or Flavien, you're not right, when they're on the horse. I respect that, and I get that, okay? And I know how dangerous it is and how tough these guys are and how they lay it all out there on the line all the time. So I'm reluctant to armchair quarterback any of them. But in this case, everybody's weighing in, so that's kind of how I saw it. I think the stewards made the right call. I think the DQ was justified, and I think Pratt was race riding. And when you do that, you always ride a fine line, okay? As far as the crops, the rules have always been in place. Stewards, do your job. We don't need these ridiculous rules. Get rid of them. We shouldn't be making rules to appease outside organizations that want to close us down anyway and are never gonna warm up to cozy up to the sport of kings. Okay, it's just not going to happen with some of these groups. Don't cozy up to them. If you're going to make rules regarding whips, crops, and things like that, have riders at the table, have representatives of the riders at the table, so they can have some input. You don't legislate stuff like that without having the people that are putting their lives on the line having some input. That said, like I said, I don't think it would have made a difference as to how the Haskell played out. Might have made it worse. He might have went to his right hand. If I'm right about him being a righty and the right being the dominant hand, which it certainly looked like to me, might have went to his right hand. We'll never know. The aftermath of that was, and you know, I avoid social media a lot now because it just, in my opinion, has become a cesspool. But it has its good points and it's got a lot of bad points. But you know, it gives a lot of people voices and things like that. And I miss a lot of it now. I got most of it muted on the pay no mind list. But certain things get to me because people bring them to my attention. So it got to me yesterday that people were calling out riders at Monmouth for using buzzers. And I got a chuckle out of it, even though it's no laughing matter, only because I had done a show earlier in the week with my friend Ray DiStefano where he talked about the Larry Sawmell New York Racing Association buzzer incident where Dr. Gilman found the battery on the racetrack and actually shocked himself. He picked up the battery off the racetrack because he got so excited, okay, and Ray was there, saw the story and tells it on the video, you could watch it, that he got so excited, oh, a battery, and they blamed Larry Sawmell, but he ran over, he picked it, and he shocked himself and nearly went flying, or did go flying, didn't go down, but went flying. And I thought it was ironic, I'll say, that you've got a state vet from New York shocking himself with a battery off the track all those years ago when Larry Sawmell, may he rest in peace, was riding. And, you know, now they're talking about buzzers today. They've been around the game for a long time, unfortunately. Another bad side and part of the sport of kings. You take away the whip rules and you take away the whips, or riders being allowed to use the whips, and rumors come up that some guys are using buzzers. It wouldn't surprise me if it's true. It wouldn't surprise me if it's not true, because it's just rumors. And, you know, people were on social media apparently saying they know, they've got inside information, they want to protect the horses, they want to call these people out, but they're not giving any names of any of the riders. So you're not really calling out anybody. You're just bringing attention to yourself, not to anybody else. If you know something and say something, say something. Don't say it halfway. If you could decide to go public, go public if you know something. If you don't, then I would keep my mouth shut if it was me. But it's not me. But there's a lot of talk about that. And, you know, you could easily connect the dots because, okay, we can't use the crops. There's money involved. When there's money involved and lives on the line and livelihoods on the line, people have a tendency to do different things. And sadly, in this world, there are many people that don't treat animals the way that they should and need and deserve to be treated. We were given dominion over the animals, and I think that's something that we've blown very, very badly as a people. But it is what it is. Hopefully it gets better, not worse. But I've got my doubts about that. But these rumors are floating around. Hopefully they'll be looked into. If it's true, with the way cameras are today, it would be very tough not to get caught with zoom lenses. I remember they accused Jose Santos of using one, I think in the Kentucky Derby, the Times, and the zoom lens zoomed in, and it was the crop or something. I don't remember what it was. He sued them and won, as he should have, because it was not a buzzer. But, you know, with the way cameras are, it could happen, and you could get caught very easily. And you know, for people to dismiss it so easily, I don't think that's wise, because history has shown us it's happened. At the Derby and the Oaks this year, okay, they had security wanding down the riders, checking them for batteries or buzzers on the way to the racetrack in the Derby, okay? If they're worried about that happening in the Derby, you don't think it could be happening at Monmouth Park? Take a second look, all right? That makes no sense. That's ridiculous. It could be happening anywhere, all right? Tough? Yeah. Cameras, yeah. Easy to get caught, yeah. Impossible? No. I mean, could it be happening? Yeah. But to the people that are calling people out, if you know somebody's using one or you heard and you want to go out and say it, say it. Don't just, you know, send out innuendos. That's just my opinion and how I see it. But who knows? We'll see where it goes. Getting back to the opening weeks, great opening week at Saratoga. Great racing, a couple of sloppy tracks off the turf days. A highlight that I thought was fitting was Norman Cassie winning the Schuylerville on opening day with Pretty Birdie, who ran a nice race on the front end and won the Schuylerville in who else's colors but Mary Lou Whitney, who was just, an icon in racing and especially at Saratoga. So that was, kind of fitting and nice to see. And, Saratoga's got that kind of, history where those little, things just kind of happen the way that they're supposed to happen. One thing that didn't happen that was kind of supposed to happen was Chad Brown didn't win another Diana. Godolphin, who's on fire all over the world, they happened to win it with those two nice mares, fillies, and those nice mares that they brought here. Altiqua won again. Really, really nice. Summer Romance ran well again. Those are two really nice ones, and be interesting to see what else Godolphin has up their sleeve for the rest of the meet. They've got Maxfield. They've got, powerful stable going forward. But Saratoga's been exciting, been great racing. The one knock I've got on Saratoga so far is, they've extended the meet out, and this happens all over when they extend these meets. I salute Keeneland for keeping the spring meet short like they do, because it keeps the quality high for the whole meet. Saratoga used to be 24 days, August place to be, 6 days a week, 1 day off for those 4 weeks, and it was all quality. Now, you have a lot of the lower level claiming races and maiden claiming races filling up these 10 or 11 race cards on every day, and that's great racing, and those horses need to run too. It was just never Saratoga. Saratoga was the Sport of Kings with the maiden special weight babies and the homebreds and all of these just powerhouse outfits converging on that meet and wanting to win there so bad. I mean, that's Saratoga to me. Let me put a parallel to it. I'm the kind of a car guy. I like cars. So it's like, to me, taking a vintage red Ferrari, okay, that just purrs, and putting an aftermarket spoiler on it. It's just something you don't do. And if you understand cars, you understand what I'm saying. That's to me what a little bit about like what they do with Saratoga. But it's still phenomenal to meet, and it's still the best racing in the world, and the stakes are great, or it's up there. I mean, there are other great meets too. Royal Ascot comes to mind, and Glorious Goodwood and the Ebor Festival. All over the world there's great racing now. Breeders' Cup, of course, is just phenomenal. And Del Mar, which we'll get to. Del Mar, opened up with fans where the turf meets the surf. It's phenomenal venue. There was a lot of talk about them having trouble filling the races, but they've got the ship-in program, which seems to have helped. Mike Maker, I know, has already won a race with a ship and win horse, and they get those bonuses. So that's great. They're getting more horses in the fields. I mean, they're only racing 3 or 4 days a week, but I think 3 days this week. I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, but they've got full fields and full cards, and sometimes less is more, you know what I mean, to get those races out there. But their racing has been great. I give a big shout out to Express Train winning the other day, I think the San Diego, because he just loves that racetrack. I'm a big horse for course guy, and I think he's a major factor in the Pacific Classic, obviously. Nice horse, starting to get his due. Definitely a little bit better at certain tracks than others, that's for sure. And Del Mar is one of the ones that he's really good at, and he's got the Pacific Classic, and you know what? The Breeders' Cup is run at Del Mar this year, so he may be one of those by then. As much as he likes that track, even if he wins the Pacific Classic, he might be a little, I don't know about under the radar, but a little, maybe 3-4 down from the top contenders in there, and he might be one to watch going further. We'll wrap up with something to look forward to. Well, interestingly enough, tomorrow Aidan O Brien runs the first foal from the great mare Lady Eli. I think it's a war front. Runs at the Curragh in Ireland. You may want to watch that in the morning if you're so inclined. I know I will be. Lady Eli was a phenomenal racehorse, phenomenal story, phenomenal heart, super talented, and I don't think that Chad Brown and his team ever got the due that they deserved, and they got a lot of due, but I just think what they accomplished with her, to run so well, I think 4 or 5 times after battling back from laminitis, and them just, you know, that whole team, just sleepless nights, round the clock, doing everything possible, Chad and the whole team, to get her first to survive, okay, and then to get her back to the races at the top level that she was always at, was one of the greatest training and just horsemanship achievements as for Chad as an individual and for a team in the history of the sport. I mean, it's up there with some of the great, you know, you talk about great wins and comebacks and things. That was really something special that never truly got its due in recognition in the history books. I mean, it's a footnote, overcame laminitis and then went on to this, and this. But really, when you think about it, to survive laminitis, it took I mean, it was a really Herculean effort by everyone involved, especially Lady Eli, who had a lot of heart to fight through that and overcome that, because a lot of horses just can't. It's very, very tough on them. In addition to the first Lady Eli running, this weekend at Ascot, it may not be Royal Ascot, it's just Ascot, but the King George Queen Elizabeth Quipco, you talk about a field. You've got Love, you've got Mishriff, you got Adayar. That's its own Breeders' Cup Classic right there. You just got an unbelievable field that is going to be a race. I mean, that's like, it's almost like one of those races for the ages, or like, you know, put these fantasy fields together and see what happens. I mean, that's an exciting race. I would set my alarm, tell my phone to remind me, set the DVR or something to whatever you watch the races on Saturday morning, because that's one you're gonna definitely want to see and have on tape. I've got no idea who I like yet. I haven't really looked at the past performances. I will. I think Love was just super impressive coming off the layoff to win the race that she won at Royal Ascot. That was just phenomenal, and Mishriff is unbelievable. Adayar, tough. This is a really interesting race. So that's all the major news. That's everything we got for today. Thank you, Amwager, for helping us to bring this to everybody. We hope you enjoyed it. We welcome your thoughts, comments, suggestions, and anything else. We'll be back next week with another recap. We'll try and do next week on Monday instead of Tuesday, but there's always a lot going on, so there's no promises there. And thanks for tuning in, and ciao for now.
Cloud computing outside. Classic Empire head-to-head down to the line. Cloud computing wins the Preakness.
Nobody does it better.